What's up, everyone? Arctic here, bringing you guys a brand new Running Ranked episode, dual commentary with my main man, Chris, aka Modded Talent. He's been a long time subscriber. I remember him posting comments, lots of comments on a lot of my different videos. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great, Arctic. Thanks for having me.
Once we got to talking, you let me know that you've been doing some Gears of War gameplay since the beginning of the summer. And, I checked out some of your videos, thought they were pretty awesome. And obviously, we just got done with a nice little play session. So can you tell me a little bit about your channel and how long you've been playing Gears?
With my channel, I actually started it this summer, and I've always been pretty hardcore into Gears. My channel is kind of focused towards playing smarter because I think that Gears is a combination of skill and logic. I've been playing Gears since Gears 1. I've put a lot of time into it. I love every single Gears series, and to be quite honest, I don't play any other game nearly as much as I play Gears.
Yeah, we had that little discussion, about some of the games I've been playing, and obviously, I let you know ahead of time. And by the way, Chris is a fucking beast, but I haven't been playing as much Gears lately, and I told you some of the games I've been playing, and I was really surprised that you are so into Gears that's like your main baby.
I love it.
Bread and butter.
It is.
So, are you excited about Judgment?
Yeah, I'm absolutely excited about Judgment. I think they're really gearing it towards the competitive community, and that's something that really appeals to me. I think with some of the decisions they're making, they're heading into a good, fast-paced game, so I'm really optimistic about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some things that are really interesting about what they're doing. One of the things that we ran into when we were playing was that, we had the full party of 5 that we ran into in 2 games in a row, and it was kind of rough. And, I always talk about matchmaking, but when I was at PAX, I got to play free-for-all. So, I kind of wonder, and I don't know if you play by yourself a lot, or, I think you told me you play a lot of execution.
Yeah.
But do you think that free-for-all was something that would appeal to you?
Definitely. I've always liked playing solo, and I stress a lot that to work well in a team, you also have to be individually skilled and smart when you play. So I think free-for-all is a good step for Gears of War. It really diversifies the kind of gameplay you can have.
Okay, yeah, I'd agree with that. So in some of the games that we played, obviously, you were putting in a lot of work, and you guys are going to get to see that either by checking out Chris's channel or looking at some of the videos that I post on the Amazing MLG channel. What do you think are some of the things that Epic needs to do with Judgment in terms of like maps? Obviously some of the maps we played during TDM weren't fantastic. Weapon balance. What would you like to see in Judgment, just from our little play session, and then trying to think about how they should approach it with Judgment?
I would definitely like to see a proper balance with the starting weapons because, like you, I'm not a fan of the hammer burst. Retro and sawed-off aren't as bad, but I think that balance between the starting weapons is crucial if it's going to be a good game. And as far as the maps go, I like to see the open space condensed a bit. As we talked, I mean, a lot of the maps in Gears of War 3 are really wide open, which kind of gives the illusion that the rifles are really overpowered when the fact is there's just not that much cover.
Right. And that's one of the things that I talked with about Quinn. I told you about that. It was, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, and we were talking about maps, and one of the issues that he expressed with Gears is like Gears 3 has like, there's like this old Gears 2, Gears 1 style maps where everything is built around execution, and then you introduce like Team Deathmatch and to a lesser degree King of the Hill, but there's so much open space, it's like you're trying to move and it just really bogs down the gameplay. So from the maps that I played at PAX with Judgment, there was, I think, Gondola or Gondola, I don't remember what the name of it was, and Library. There's a lot of cover. So it seems like they've kind of really thought about that, and hopefully, we see a lot of maps that enables you to flow, a little bit better.
Yeah.
But you said weapon balance. Obviously, I think I don't know what we're going to see at Judgment in terms of weapons, especially with the starting weapons. Have you seen obviously, you're not a sniper guy. You're telling me you love the bolt talk, and he loves the bolt talk, and he's really good with the bolt talk too. I mean, he had some amazing plays when we were playing, but there's things like the breach shot, which I personally feel like if there's a breach shot, I don't know if I would necessarily grab the sniper, and I haven't gotten to see the torque, and I really like the torque, but power weapon play is going to be interesting as well. So what kind of weapons do you kind of gear towards? But other than, if you had to pick up a power weapon, what would you go for?
I can't say the bolt talk, right?
You cannot say the bolt talk. The bolt talk does not count.
I guess I would go for boom shot. Boom shot is definitely the best, but if I could have it my way, I would also want it toned down a bit, or maybe just 2 shots, because I really hate it when games are focused solely on who has the boom shot for the whole match.
Right.
So I'd like to see some of the power weapons, I think, like the boom shot, need a bit of a decrease, while other weapons, such as the digger, which I really like the idea behind the digger, maybe should get a little bit of an increase to make it more effective.
Yeah, there's always that map where where teams are going to go. And if or good
power.
players, I should say, in power weapons. So, I think finding that balance, especially if the boom shot is involved, is really important. One of the maps, library, for free for all, I figured out how to get to the boom shot. But one of the things that also is changing with Judgment is that they're actually moving from the 30-second after use to the respawn timer for weapons. So if you pick the boom shot up at 2 minutes and 20 seconds, it's going to spawn maybe, I don't know if it's a minute or 2 minutes, it's going to spawn 2 minutes later. So if you see someone's pick it up at whatever time, you're going to know that 2 minutes later it's going to spawn, versus, someone picks it up, they shoot one, they shoot another, then they hold the boom shot for 5 fucking minutes, and then you don't know, if it's going to be coming up or not, or if they wasted it or whatever. And that's one of the things I never really liked about after use. So, I think hopefully they kind of that kind of balances things out a little bit more too. But definitely agree with you. I think the digger is one that needs a boost. I haven't seen it in use though, so I don't even know if it's still a weapon. What do you think about overrun?
I think overrun's a great idea. A lot of people don't really like the idea of class-based system, but when I think of overrun, like many people, I probably think of Left 4 Dead, and I just think it's a really fresh game type, and it's not necessarily the game type I would be competing in for the majority of the time, but it's definitely something that I could casually play and have fun with. And I think classes over just weapons to start with, like normal multiplayer, was a good way for Epic to go.
So knowing that and this is one of the things that if you tell Quinn that or Pete that overrun isn't competitive, they'll be like, what are you talking about? It's competitive. It's a competitive game type. So hypothetically, if overrun were to become the mainstay game type, and obviously, I mean, a lot of factors have to go into that, but if it did, would you compete in it, or would you feel like, no, I don't want to, I'd rather play execution? Honestly,
that's a tough one.
Honestly,
if I enjoy it, I would definitely compete in it, and I would probably try really hard to enjoy it. I just can't see it becoming a competitive game type. It seems like something that's so casual to me and laid back. Maybe because it's just completely fresh and different, but right. I'm not really sure how it's going to play with competitiveness.
So I think one of the major concerns I have right now with it is not necessarily the class-based system for the cogs, but more on the locust side. Just because there's so many different variations of locust that you can pick going into it versus the cog. I mean, the cog to me seem really limited, and maybe it's just because I have in my mind, okay, there's only going to be, a guy with the Nasher or a guy with the boom shot or whatever. And you think about the Locust, they have the boomers or the Maulers or the berserkers. So I mean, that combination is kind of what's throwing me off to whether or not it will be adopted as a competitive game type. But I feel like I've played so many games now that if it did get, if the competitive community did put their weight behind it and say, yeah, we'll give this a shot, I might try to push for it a little bit more. Obviously, I was a big advocate for King of the Hill, and there's always mixed feelings about that because everyone wants to just play execution. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Very, very interesting. What other game types do you think are going to be in there?
New ones?
Yeah.
I really don't know. I know you've always been a big advocate of a kind of search and destroy game type because you really like objective game types.
Right.
So it would be nice to see something like that. I'm not really sure what to expect, but I've never really had a problem with playing game types that didn't necessarily have an objective, just because I figure that the power weapons in themselves can kind of be an objective. Because if you sit back or you camp, you basically surrender important parts of the map or weapons. So
yeah.
I'm not really.
I was just agreeing with you. Yeah. That's the one thing people always kind of go to with execution in Warzone is the power weapons become the objectives. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I don't really have much more to say about it. I'm not sure what they could really implement. I think Overrun in itself is a really good stride for a new maybe competitive game type with an objective in it. So I'm not really sure what more I expect from Epic.
There's some people that have been talking about a classic capture the flag of some sort. Did you play? Was it Submission? Is that what it was called?
Yeah, Submission.
Which was just horrendous. I hated that game type.
Getting bodied by the bots.
Did you play it enough to be like, all right, this was a bad idea. I wouldn't want to play CTF with this variation. But would you be willing to play a CTF game type?
I would definitely be willing to play a CTF game type. I don't know if they need to drop this whole notion of a human flag, but I, to be honest, liked Capture the Leader, but I know that didn't really involve bringing the leader to a specific point.
Right.
But if they did put a Capture the Flag game type, I would definitely be for that, as long as the spawn system can kind of make things fair, I guess.
Yeah, that's one thing to kind of think about the spawn system. It also kind of depend on the maps too. With something like CTF, because you'd have to have two bases, and then spawns would have to be around those bases after you kill someone. So I don't know how it would work. I mean, I would be kind of interested in a CTF, but like you said, I'm much more fascinated with the idea of a bomb game type, because to me it just makes sense. I mean, if you've played Gears of War long enough, if this is the game that you grew up playing the 360 on for a shooter, then one life objective game type just makes sense. So
definitely,
I would definitely like to see that more so than anything else. What else? I mean, you told me that you play Gears. Do you have any other plans for your channel besides Gears? I mean, there's a lot of big time titles coming out.
I may be considering Halo, possibly Call of Duty, but my channel is mainly going to be for Gears, just because I'm not very good at many other games because I just don't put the time into them.
Mm-hmm.
But I do kind of have planned different series. For instance, when Judgment comes out, I want to get back into the competitive side of Gears of War, so I plan on doing some series that are devoted to the competitive aspect of Gears.
Okay.
So that's a big thing for me.
Okay. Speaking of some series, can you name some of the ones that you have done and kind of like tell about them? I obviously I know some off the top of my head that you do, but can you kind of tell that to the people watching?
Yeah, of course. My favorite series that I have started is called The Art of Clutching, and basically I take all of the clutches that I've gotten in execution or TDM or any game type really, and I describe what's going through my head as I'm clutching to kind of give people an idea of how they should play in certain scenarios when they're trying to clutch.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I have an Inside My Mind series where I just talk about what's running through my head as I'm playing through matches. I also like to do topics out of the blue. I talk about KD, for instance, and I like to give tips on how to use certain weapons, and those are some series that I have that are really running my channel as of now.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So it sounds like you're setting yourself up to succeed. Trust me. Trust me
Thank
with
you.
that. You are setting yourself up to succeed. Now, there are some games where you went clutch mode. So
I did.
you probably should, at least for me, because I want to know, because I was dead. I want to know what was going through your mind on some of those. So you guys really need to check out Chris and Modded Talent, as he goes by on YouTube, because he has some very excellent content. The guy's very down to earth, and he knows what he's talking about. So I really appreciate you coming on and doing a dual commentary with me, man. Fun games. I'm sure now that you're on my friends list that we will get into more games here in the future.
That just makes me smile even more. I just want to take a second to say, Arctic, this has actually been a great experience. I never would have thought that starting a channel up this summer would result with me commentating with my favorite Gears of War commentator in the game. This has actually been great, and I just want to thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you. And if you guys are watching, you guys can subscribe to Modded Talents or Chris's YouTube channel. The link is down in the description, guys. And until the next time, I will catch you guys later. Peace.